HarperCollins presents The Cottage in the Ruins by Anne Wynne Clark. Read by Iona Campbell. There are no secrets that time does not reveal. Jean Racine. Prologue. Gorton, Manchester. Monday, the 6th of November, 1995. In there. The young officer standing outside the door straightened. He nodded wordlessly, his eyes sunken from lack of sleep, haunted by the horror of what the previous night had brought. Detective Sergeant Cora Peters felt his pain. She peered through the little square of wired glass in the door of the interview room. Visible just a few feet in front of her was the back of a child's head, cropped brown hair, two short trousers rising to reveal bare twig legs with oversized battered trainers at the end of them swinging beneath the table. Such a slight frame and small, so very small. It hardly seemed possible. 10 years old, but in appearance all of 7 or 8. Something knotted in her stomach. Taking a deep breath, she pushed open the door. The head turned sharply, and Peters found herself fixed briefly with a pair of huge, coal-dark eyes, grimy streaks of recent tears dried on the pale cheeks. The interest D.S. Peters' sudden appearance had generated dissipated just as quickly, and the child turned back to address the adult in the neighbouring seat, a woman in her late 40s from social services. The parents were conspicuous by their absence. "When can I go home?" The voice was timid, quavering. Cora felt oddly conflicted. She pulled up a chair on the opposite side of the table. The noise of the feet scraping across the floor set her teeth on edge. She nodded a tight smile to the social worker, who offered a grimace in return. Cora noticed how flustered the woman looked and wondered whether this was something entirely beyond her experience. It certainly wasn't every day that a child was brought in suspected of murder. "Hello, JJ. My name is Detective Sergeant Peters. I'd like to ask you a few questions about what happened last night." She pressed the tape recorder switch and glanced up at the clock. Only 8:50 a.m. It had been a torturous night, and she felt wrung out already. Cora stared across the table, waiting for some sort of acknowledgement. The child looked at the tape recorder, then down at the floor, fingers picking anxiously at the peeling edge of the table. The nails were chewed to the quick, Cora noticed. The kid's sweatshirt and trousers looked well worn, grubby and crumpled. A faint tang of stale urine hung in the air. "Do you think you can explain to me what you were doing outside the Novak's family home with a box of matches in your pocket at the time the fire broke out?" Still no response. The eyes remained firmly downcast, the fingers idly tracing patterns in the red Formica tabletop. Cora exhaled. "JJ, you do realize that this is extremely serious, don't you? Both Mr. and Mrs. Novak are dead, and Olga is fighting for her life. We're trying to put together a picture of what went on, why you would have done such a terrible thing." A brief pause. Then, somewhat sheepishly, "She told lies about me." The words were barely audible, but this was the first admission that the kid had actually been involved in some way, and of a possible motive. Cora cleared her throat. She and the woman sitting across the table locked eyes for a moment. It was an uncomfortable sensation. Cora leaned forward in an attempt to make eye contact, but the child refused resolutely to look up. The leg swinging increased, causing the chair to rock slightly. A tight band had begun to squeeze Cora's forehead. She massaged her temples with her fingertips. "Can you stop that, please?" She could hear the prickle of irritation in her own voice and realized she was losing her cool. She drew in a breath. The child, seemingly sensing this, stopped abruptly. "Would you like to tell me what Olga said? It must have been really bad to make you do something like this." The frail shoulders shrugged. In spite of herself, Cora sobbed.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?